Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
All had your lunch?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We have started the chapter, How Do Organisms Reproduce? We discussed about asexual methods of reproduction like budding, binary fission. Then we started with sexual method of reproduction. And under sexual method of reproduction, we learned about male reproductive organs and female reproductive organs. And today we'll be learning about fertilization. So before we proceed with fertilization, I would like to know one answer. What is the main difference between sexual and asexual reproduction? I know you know the answer, but just to check whether you are remembering the points, who is going to tell me the main difference between sexual and asexual reproduction?
Ma'am.
Nah, yes, Shivanya.
In sexual reproduction, only one parent is required, but in sexual reproduction, both male and female parents.
Very good. That is exactly the answer what I wanted. In sexual reproduction, both parents are involved, whereas in asexual reproduction, only one parent is enough. So let us continue with the chapter. Okay. Now, reproduction in human beings. You know that in human beings, sexual reproduction takes place. And now we know the male and female reproductive organs and the gametes produced. What do you call the male gametes? What do you call the male gametes? Anybody? Mishal, what do you call the male gametes in human beings?
Sperms.
Sperms. And female gametes? Female
Ma'am,
gametes?
ovum.
Ovum. Plural ova. Ova, plural, ovum, singular. Or else you can say eggs. Now, the first step in the process of reproduction, in sexual reproduction, the first step is the fusion of a sperm and an ovum. Sperm from the male parent should fuse with ovum from the female parent. When sperms come in contact with an egg, you can see in this picture, what you can see in the center is the egg, the round structure with some frill like structures outside, that is the egg or ovum. And you can see many sperms here in the picture. Only 3 are there can be more than that. Millions of sperms can come in contact with the ovum, but at a time only one sperm will fuse with the egg. Only one sperm, even if there are many sperms which are coming in contact with the egg, only one sperm will get the chance to fuse with the egg. Just one sperm will fuse with a single egg. If 2 eggs are there, there can be cases where normal cases only one egg will be released by the female ovary every month. Okay, but sometimes more than one eggs can be released. So in such a case, if 2 eggs are released, 2 sperms will get a chance to fuse. But with a single egg, only one sperm will get a chance to fuse. When sperms come in contact with an egg, one of the sperms will fuse with this egg. And then what happens? The nuclei of the sperm and the egg. You know, sperm is a single cell. Egg is also a single cell. So when you say cell, you have already learned about the structure of a cell. So in the cell, there will be nucleus, cytoplasm, etc. So the sperm will have nucleus. Egg also will have a nucleus, and when fertilization takes place, sperm and egg will fuse. So when they fuse, their nuclei also fuses and form a single nucleus. And what is the structure formed, children, when a sperm fuses with the egg? Zygote. You call it as zygote or fertilized egg. When sperm fuses with the egg, a zygote is formed. You can even call zygote as a fertilized egg. And how many nuclei a zygote will have? Prarthana, tell me how many nuclei a zygote will have?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
In a zygote, you know how a zygote is formed. Ovum and sperm will fuse and a zygote is formed. How many nuclei a zygote will have? The clue is there on the board, means on the screen.
I'm single.
Yes, exactly correct answer. Why? Because sperm is having one nucleus, egg is also having nucleus. But when they fuse, these two nuclei will combine and form a single nucleus. So zygote will have only a single nucleus. And this fusion of egg and sperm resulting in the formation of a zygote is known as fertilization. If you're asked to define what is meant by fertilization or define fertilization, you will say it's a fusion of sperm, that is a male gamete, and egg, the female gamete, to form a zygote. Okay? That is known as fertilization. Fertilization is the fusion of a sperm and egg to form a zygote. What is the other name for zygote? Fertilized egg. You can even call it as fertilized egg because the egg is fertilized by the sperm. So that is the first step. Fertilization or this fusion is the first step in sexual reproduction. Can I change the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay. Okay. The fusion of the egg and the sperm resulting in the formation of a zygote is known as fertilization. And to be noted, a zygote will be having a single nucleus because even though it is formed by the fusion of sperm and egg, their nuclei will fuse together and form a single nucleus. Now, the zygote is formed. And you can see the figure also. So here, let me take the pen. So here, this is the ovary. Okay, this is the ovary. From the ovary, ovum will be released. Okay, an ovum will be released, and this ovum, when it gets a chance to fuse with the, here there will be egg, and if it gets a chance to fuse with the sperm, it will form a zygote. Now, zygote, as I told you, is a single-celled structure. But this zygote will undergo repeated division. The single cell, first it will be a single cell, and then it will undergo repeated division. Suppose this is zygote with the nucleus inside, and this will undergo division. It forms 2 cell, then 4 cell, then 8 cell. Like that, they keep on dividing. Zygote undergoes repeated division, and they will form a ball of cells. As you can see in the picture, it's forming a ball of cells, 2, 4, 8, and you can see the number of cells keeps on, or the number keeps on increasing by cell division, and they will form a ball of cells. And these cells, once they form a group of cells, you know, a group of cells can form tissue, a group of tissues can form organs, and this developing structure is known as embryo. The main difference between zygote and embryo is that zygote is a single-celled structure, but embryo is a multicellular structure. And how is a zygote formed? By the fusion of sperm and egg. But how is an embryo formed? By repeated divisions of the zygote. You need to note these points. Differences between zygote and embryo. Zygote is single-celled structure. Embryo, multicellular. How is a zygote formed? By the fusion of sperm and egg. And how is an embryo formed? By the division, repeated divisions of zygote. And so, as I told you, zygote undergoes repeated division and they will form a ball of cells, and from this ball of cells tissues and organs will be later formed, and this structure formed from the zygote you call it as embryo. Now once it has formed an embryo, so zygote undergoes repeated divisions and it will form an embryo. Once embryo has formed, you can see the zygote was formed here, but it is slowly passed and it will finally reach. This is the uterus. So this part is the uterus and it will get attached to the wall of the uterus. Embryo will slowly move from the fallopian tube. Fertilization, where is it taking place? Where is fertilization taking place, children?
I'm in the fallopian tube.
Very good. I thought you will say uterus. Very good. It takes place in the fallopian tube, but once the zygote is formed, it keeps on dividing and at the same time it will move down and then finally will get attached to the wall of the uterus. It gets embedded. The embryo gets embedded or it gets attached on the wall of the uterus. What for? For further development. Further development will take place inside the uterus or after getting attached to the uterine wall. It gradually develops. Once it has got attached to the uterine wall, now the embryo will slowly develop and you can see body parts being formed. In case of embryo and in zygote, we cannot distinguish any body parts. But this embryo, after getting attached to the uterus, it undergoes further development and form fetus. Okay, first it was zygote. Zygote will change into embryo. And zygote single cell, embryo multicellular. Then it forms fetus. Embryo and fetus both are multicellular. But the main difference is that in embryo, we cannot make out the body parts. But in fetus, you can distinguish the body parts. Okay, it gets the shape of a human baby. Hands, then legs, head, ears, all these will develop. At that stage of embryo, you can call it as a fetus. When the embryo develops and forms the body parts, then you call it as a fetus. Okay, first zygote, then embryo, and embryo will change into fetus. The stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called a fetus. When the development of the fetus is complete, the mother delivers the baby, gives birth to the baby. So fetus, first it will be in the form of a zygote, then embryo, changes into fetus, and the fetus, when its development is complete, the mother will deliver the baby. It takes almost 9 months and 1 week approximately. It can fluctuate, but still approximately 9 months and 1 week we all have spent inside your mother's womb. Maybe slight changes can be there, like some children, due to some problem at the 8th month, by surgery the baby can be delivered. So there can be minor changes, but on an average we all have spent months inside your mother's womb. Okay, you want me to repeat the points?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll repeat the points. So first, the zygote. We discussed about the formation of zygote in the previous slide. Zygote is formed by the fusion of male and female gamete. And once the zygote is formed, zygote formation takes place in the fallopian tube. And after that, the zygote will divide repeatedly and they form a ball of cells. And this ball of cells, you call it as embryo. And it is from the embryo that tissues and organs will develop gradually. And once embryo has formed, it will go and get attached to the uterine wall. Then attached to the uterine wall, it slowly develops body parts. Once the body parts are developed, embryo can be called as a fetus. And fetus will or the fetus will remain inside the mother's uterus till its development is complete. Once the development is complete, mother will deliver the baby. She gives birth to the baby once that pregnancy period. You call it as gestation period. So long as the baby is inside the uterus, the period is not, you don't have to learn. That period is known as gestation period. So long as the baby is inside the mother's womb. Gestation period. Once that period is completed, the mother will deliver the baby. Okay? Any doubts you can ask me, children? Any doubts? It's
Now
fine?
what you have wrote the station period.
Once again?
Now what you wrote in the board.
That is gestation period. Gestation period means you don't have to learn. It's not mentioned in your textbook. The period during which the baby remains in the mother's womb, you call it as gestation period. The mother gestation period is, as I told you, 9 months and 1 week approximately. Once that period is completed, mother will deliver the baby under normal conditions. There can be some slight changes, like some emergency cases, surgery can be conducted and the baby will be delivered a bit earlier. There are some exceptional cases, but other than that, on a normal case, she or the baby will be completing gestation period, or the baby will remain inside the mother's uterus during this gestation period. Once it is completed, the mother will deliver the baby. Okay. Okay, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, shall we summarize and then proceed? Only then I will understand whether you have followed. So,
Okay,
quickly you can summarize what we discussed. We'll start with fertilization. Fatima Shaza can start. What is fertilization? Huh? What happened? You cannot unmute?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Okay, tell me.
The fusion of eggs and sperm resulting in the formation.
Hmm.
Correct.
Say. Formation of?
Formation of zygote is called fertilization.
Now, without referring, can you say? You were checking somewhere. Without that, I want you to say. Very confidently, you say the answer. Now you have read it once. Now, without referring anywhere, you tell me. Then you will learn it. You don't have to spend extra effort. Now itself, you can learn. Yes, Fatima.
The fusion of eggs and sperm resulting.
Now, don't say eggs, because at a time only one egg is fusing with the sperm. Fusion of
Egg,
and
a sperm in resulting in formation
of a
zygote
is
is
known as
fertilization.
fertilization. Now, once the zygote is formed, what happens next? Gino. Suddenly, I thought Vijay has joined our class. So I was surprised to see who is this? Unfamiliar, not an unfamiliar face, but an adult person. You people are teenagers, no? Who was that? Whose image was that?
Abhinav.
Abhinav. Oh. Yes, who is going to tell me the answer? Gino. Whom did I ask?
Gino.
Gino. Tell me. Oh, Gino's video is post. Okay, Devika. What happens next?
Yes, ma'am.
Zygote is formed. What is next?
And these cells develop into different. Is that correct?
It's very simple, child. Zygote is single cell. Now, what is next? It will
Cell develop into different tissues.
I told many times, I don't want the things as such which is given. You don't read it out. You understand the meaning, present it in your own words. But you can, scientific terms wherever needed, you can use. Zygote is single cell. Now what is next? What will happen to the zygote? It will undergo
Division.
Division.
Devika.
Ma'am,
Devika, zygote will undergo.
different.
You look at me, I'll help you. It will undergo what? I'm showing you the action over here. It will undergo what? Don't say cutting.
I'm different. Different division.
Divisions.
Different division.
Repeated divisions. Repeatedly it will divide. Then what happens? Devika, zygote is a single cell structure. If it is undergoing repeated division, what it will form? A group of,
Tissue. Of
when cells are dividing, it will form first of all what? A group of, question carries the answer.
zygote.
Cell divides
Cell.
are group of cells, or you can say ball of cells. Because of its shape, you call it as a ball of cells. What do you call this ball of cells, Abhinav? What do you call this ball of cells? Abhinav's video is also post. Varada, once in a while you join. Varada,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me the answer.
And question.
What do you call the ball of cells formed by the repeated divisions of zygote?
Embryo.
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 What happened to your video, child?
Ma'am, my camera is having some problem.
You rectify it.
Ma'am, I'm connecting from
So what we were discussing just now? Varada, you answered the question, embryo. Now, what will happen to the embryo next? What is next? Shankari, tell me what happens next.
then feed photosynthesis.
What
What
happens?
is that? What is that word? Feed.
No, you listen to me. Embryo has formed. Okay. Now, what is next means not the next stage. After the formation of embryo, where this embryo will go? It will remain in the fallopian tube?
No, ma'am.
No. Where it will go and get attached?
To the uterus.
It will go, it will move down to the uterus and it will get attached to the, we all have spent time over there, no? Our first home, you should remember the name. Where is it?
Mother's.
Mother's womb, or scientific term, uterus. You should not forget it. The term you should not forget. We all have spent 8-9 months at least there, isn't it? So don't forget. So it will get attached to the uterine wall. And now what is next? Michelle, what happens next? The embryo has got attached to the uterine wall. What is next? Where are you? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
Embryo has got attached to the uterine wall. Yes?
Yes.
Now what will happen? Embryo will
Ma'am.
undergo any change?
Yes, ma'am.
What will happen to the embryo? It will develop what? It will develop what? Embryo is a ball of cells. Are we like a ball of cells? What do
No,
we
ma'am.
have? Just a ball of cells?
No,
What
ma'am.
are all these structures? What do you call it? Who can help him? Yes, Prarthana.
Ma'am, where the stage we can identify the legs and hands is called feet.
Body parts. This embryo will start developing body parts. That is, the embryo, after getting attached to the uterine wall, undergoes further development, forms legs, hands, head, eyes. Yes, Michelle? Michelle's connectivity went?
Ma'am,
And then it will be called as?
ma'am,
Then it will be
features.
called as? Tia, what do you call it at this stage? When the body parts are formed, when the embryo undergo changes, Embryo will undergo change, and so many changes it will undergo and develop body parts. And at this stage, you can call embryo as a Tia.
Ma'am, voice.
Say loudly. O is silent. O is silent. What is that structure?
Ma'am, voice.
O is silent. So just try to read that. Alena, what is the structure called? Unmute first. I can't hear. Shivanya,
Ma'am, fetus.
fetus. O is silent. So Fetus. If O is silent, you call it as fetus. Tia, repeat.
Ma'am, fetus.
Fetus. F it is. Fetus. Okay, shall we continue? What is the difference between embryo and fetus? The major difference between embryo and fetus. You said you are listening, no? Tell me.
Yes,
Prove
I-
that you are listening.
Fetus development of body parts.
Stage of embryo where we can make out the body parts, you call it as
Fetus.
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 Okay. Anybody is having doubt? Okay, we'll continue with the topic. So it's very, very important topic, children. Zygote, embryo, fetus. The differences between these, differences among these three, very, very important. And please do read it today itself. And quickly, I will finish off the next topic. Internal fertilization, types of fertilization. Internal and external, easy to remember. Internal fertilization means here the fusion of gametes is taking place inside the body of female. Internal fertilization means here the fertilization is taking place inside the body of the female. Example, human beings, cows, dogs, birds. In all these animals, internal fertilization and fusion of sperm and egg takes place inside the body of the female. But when it is taking place
And can you
out,
show the last slide?
I'll repeat, I'll show it. When it is taking place outside, when male and female gametes are fusing or fertilization is taking place outside the body of the female, you call it as external fertilization. Fish, starfish, frog, all these are examples. In these animals, what they do is they will release their eggs in water. Eggs will be released in water. Sperms are also released in water. And in the water medium or in the water, the sperms will swim and reach the egg, or either sperms will be deposited over the eggs and fertilization is taking place in water outside the body of the female. Sperm will swim in water with the help of a long tail and they will fuse with the eggs and fertilize them. Very simple topic, or it's very simple, internal and external fertilization. What you need to remember is in internal fertilization, you know what is fertilization? Fusion of sperm and egg. When it is taking place inside the body of the female, it is internal fertilization. But when this fusion of sperm and egg is taking place outside the body, it is external. Internal, inside. External, outside. Only that. That term only you need to know. Fertilization, you already know what it is. Examples for internal, humans, cows, dogs, birds. And external, frogs, fish, starfish, etc. And how external fertilization takes place? They will release, the males will release. Take the case of a frog. Male frogs will release sperms into water. Female frogs will release eggs in water. And in the water, the sperm will fuse with the egg. And the tadpole, the larva of frog will be developing in water. It's not inside the body of the female. Did you understand? Did you understand?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, fertilization means sperm will fuse with egg. But if this fusion is inside the body of the female, it is internal. Internal fertilization. If it is outside, say for example in water, then it is external. External fertilization takes place in fishes, frogs, starfishes, etc. Whereas all the mammals, human beings, cows, dogs, cats, internal fertilization. Hope you have understood. Okay, bye. See you, children.
Bye, ma'am.